Gary, cold open question of the week. What's the one necessary accessory or item for a college apartment?
Oh man, kegerator. A well-stocked liquor cabinet. That's what I would no. An iced tea pitcher.
is there one item like a kitschy item that you have to have in a college apartment?
Bottle opener.
That's a good one.
But the dual bottle opener, the one that you could do wine and beer.
Okay. Tonight on the Brian Lennon Show, we'll discuss Brittney Griner, Novak Djokovic, recap the weekend that was, talk about moving my son into his college apartment, Boy Scout camp, medical forms, plumbers, and nation states. And as always, Gary's News of the Weird. Oh, what a fade that was, Gary. Nice job.
You like that? You like that?
It's the third week, and you just keep getting better every week.
Oh, yeah. Working the board.
Yes, board hop. So this weekend we moved Joseph, my oldest, into his apartment house in Wilkes-Barre.
Okay.
So we had a giant wooden futon. I wrote about this in my blog on the Brian Lennon Show on Substack.
By saying that?
But it was a giant wooden futon bed that was my father-in-law's. And we had to bring it upstairs through kind of like the landing of the house that goes upstairs and downstairs. And there's a banister in the middle, of course. And then take it out to the U-Haul van.
Okay.
So, of course, we had to take the door off, the basement door. And then it was getting like stuck with the banister rail. And there were plenty of curse words involved.
Oh, I'm sure.
And whatever. So we end up getting it in the van and driving it down to Wilkes-Barre. And then his apartment, like, this thing is never going to fit in this like old house in Wilkes-Barre. It probably won't get through the front door, let alone up the narrow steps. And it comes to a landing where there's literally like two doorways. So
Okay.
It's not going to fit. So we have to like disassemble this thing in the back of the U-Haul. It's probably about 82, 85 degrees.
Oh, my God.
I had been drinking the night before. I'll preface that. We'll talk more about that later. Luckily, his roommate has like an Allen wrench that fits the screws on this thing, so we take it off. So we end up getting him moved in there. But I was kind of struck when I walked in because he has the living room is basically decorated with Natty Ice and
I seen that.
and Bush Light wallpaper, if you will. It's like cut out from the cases of the beer. And I was thinking about my own college apartment.
Mm-hmm.
We had the picture of Marilyn Monroe.
I remember that. Yep.
I know my roommate Dave, he had pictures of Nirvana.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Pearl Jam in his like bedroom, not in the main living area. And then I had a Spice Girls poster as well that Justin, my one roommate, got me when he worked at Blockbuster. And that's why I was thinking about like what his roommate was one of the guys he's going to be living with. He's going to be living with five other men.
Jeez. Okay.
and he had a wireless router extension.
Yep. Okay.
I was like, wow, we didn't have those things back in the day.
No.
So that's why I was thinking, like, what's like the one item you'd have to have in a college apartment?
Well, yeah, nowadays, yeah, that's perfect. Wireless router, because I mean, especially with 5 guys in there, and you got all the work you have to do for college, so it's like they're all going to be on a computer at some point or on their phones and all that stuff. So that's, yeah, this day of age, that's perfect.
Yeah, but the wallpaper struck me as a little tacky. But again, I'm looking at it, as a 40-something-year-old.
Yeah, well, yeah,
not a 20-year-old.
I mean, I remember. I think the only poster I remember in our first apartment when it was with Jay and Lisa and Shannon was the periodic table, but it was of mixology. So it was just a bunch of just different types of drinks to make. That's the only poster I remember in that entire place. Besides Lisa's Leonardo DiCaprio poster that we defaced with.
Enough said. Trying to keep this somewhat family friendly.
Yeah.
So how was your weekend?
So I have one thing. So after our last conversation last week, and we talked about our dilemma not being able to use our old opening song,
No Rain by Blind Melon.
Blind Melon, yeah. Well, I haven't heard that song in 12 years, and then that one week we did our first episode and we played it. I've heard it now twice over the weekend, and I swear it's taunting me now. You can't use the thing. So we were in a brewery, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there. I even called you. I left you a voice message. I didn't know if you were able to hear the song or not.
I was able to hear it in the background.
Yeah. And then on our way home from Jupiter Sunday, there was pops on. I'm like, seriously? I'm like, I have not heard the song in 12 or so many years, and all of a sudden now twice in one weekend.
Well, I was driving home from work on Friday when you called. So when I got home, I listened to the message. And I heard No Rain in the background.
Okay.
And then we ended up going out to the Waldorf.
Mm-hmm.
And the band that was playing was playing No Rain. I told Lisa to record it to send to you. I don't know if she sent it to you.
You know what? There was... she did send something, but I never got to listen to it. So
okay, they're playing No Rain as well.
Okay, that's probably what it is. Yeah. It's taunting now. It's that's what it's doing. It's you can't use me. No.
So you're familiar with the Waldorf, correct? The tiki bar at the Waldorf.
I don't believe so. No. I think I've heard people talk about it, but I don't think I've ever been there. The only Waldorf I know is the Hotel in New York.
Okay. Well, I heard about this probably about 22 years ago because one of the women I worked with would go there, and they would talk about the tiki bar at the Waldorf, but it was like it's a club, it's a social club, I guess, technically.
Okay, I think my parents have gone up there before because I remember them always talking about tiki bar or something like that, and you have to be a member or whatever, or be with a member.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, then that must be the same place.
Yeah, so I've been hearing about this place for 22 years. Had never been invited. Lisa mentioned her. Now, backtrack to last summer. One of the guys I was working with at the grocery store, he plays in a band, and he played 1 or 2 shows at the Waldorf, and I was telling him, I've always heard about this place, never had been there.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, I didn't get the invite, or he didn't have the connection, whatever. But he ended up actually joining the club with his fiance.
Oh, okay.
So I mentioned it to him this week, like, I'm going to be at the Waldorf this week if we can get in. That was a whole other thing with Lisa, of course. So anyway, 22 years, I finally got into the Waldorf. We had a really good time. The band It's called Blue London. I guess they're out of Carbondale, maybe
Okay.
Jessup. I don't know. They were really good. Really enjoyed them. They played everything from 60s rock and roll. They played some country western. They play. I requested "Your Love" by Outfield.
Okay.
Um, After the break, they went on stage and played it. So
That's cool.
yeah, so they're really good. I enjoyed it. Ended up like dancing more than I didn't think I would be dancing Friday night. I ended up dancing. I think I hurt my knee dancing,
Oh,
and then on top of that, trying to move this futon the next morning.
uh-huh.
But I was up and showered at 9 o'clock on Saturday.
Hmm.
So
I wasn't.
I can still bring it, but
Good.
yeah, it was a fun time. Pamela and Jeremy, our friends, for over 20 years, they were there as well.
I've
So
seen the pictures online. Yeah, it looks like a good time. Yeah. Me and Shannon just went after she got out of work. We hopped down to a couple breweries that I haven't been to yet. So popped around.
Are there some of those left?
Yeah, and then we there's a couple, and then we ended up going to dinner with her sister and a couple of her friends, stuff like that. Great Italian restaurant over there. So
What'd you get?
I got the oh my god, what did I get? I don't remember now. Oh, their soup. I got the tortellini soup. That was
Get a chicken. Forget about me.
Actually, it was chicken. It was chicken. It was chicken with a lemon sauce, and it was over fettuccine. It was very good. And then I had their chicken tortellini soup was outstanding, so I had that, and then we had these giant meatballs for an appetizer and a few drinks, a couple glasses of wine.
I'm always afraid to get chicken when I go out because we eat chicken a lot at home.
Mm.
I'm like, well, why? If I'm going out, why am I going to get chicken? And I'm always afraid it's going to be like really dry.
Yeah, I'm leery on it every once in a while too. Got the one incident I had at the one place where it was just like they were supposed to be little chicken, like boneless chicken, but it was more like raw boneless chicken. So I wasn't a fan. So I try to avoid it now. But sometimes when I see a certain thing on the menu and it's chicken wise, I'm like, ooh, that just sounds really good. So,
but it was good.
It was very good. Yeah.
Good. All right, and then Sunday we spent at Promised Land State Park.
Yeah, I haven't been to Promised Land since let's see, when did we graduate? 94.
You were there for prom.
That was prom. That was the probably one and only time I've ever been to Promised Land.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we go a lot. It was just a gorgeous summer day. Like there was like one cloud in the sky. It's just really nice. We go on Sunday. It's like a campground area where we go. It's kind of like a private beach, and it kind of on Sunday by 2:00, 3:00, people are leaving because most of them are there for the weekend.
Oh, okay.
So then Sunday afternoon they're heading home, and then it's just very nice, peaceful, and quiet, relaxing. So
yeah, sounds good. Now Sunday I was driving back from Jupiter, so that was my day basically. Driving that nice long boring ride. So but yep, I had to be back this week. So
did math camp start yesterday?
Yes it did. And I will say one thing.
Say it.
I have not yet seen like those 80s movies, all those camp movies, and all these little hot camp directors walking around. Yeah, nope, haven't seen that yet.
Okay.
Bunch of old ladies walking around, and me in my math camp.
Well, it is math camp.
My fourth graders. And
now, do you wear like T-shirts with math puns on them? Like, do you have like a math wardrobe?
I do not. I've just been wearing my polo and shorts and my Hey Dudes, my shoes. My new comfortable shoes that I've learned to.
Let's see them. Oh, okay, I've seen them.
So they're like boat type shoes. So they're so comfortable. I just bought a couple new pairs over the weekend, actually, when we were over in Jupiter. Went to the
And
outlets. And
you wear them with or without socks?
so I wear them with those little tiny.
No-show socks?
Yes, you don't even know I even have them on.
It's not those like little pantyhose that they have in the boxes like at Walmart when you're trying on shoes. Oh my God. Okay. But it's a sock. It's a cotton sock.
Yes, it's a cotton
Okay.
sock. Yeah. I can't do. I have a problem wearing boat shoes with no socks, or any type of shoe with no socks. It just, I don't know, freaks me out. It doesn't feel right.
I'm there with you.
So now, buying these little socks, I wear these shoes a lot now. I have 3 pairs of these, and then I have 2 pairs of Sketcher type ones that are like that. So now I wear them all the time because they're so comfortable.
And that's all you really need in Florida, right?
That's it. That is it.
You're not wearing boots or anything.
Oh no. Well, unless I'm going to the country bar, but I haven't done that in a long time too. So
okay. All right. So, Gary, I want to talk. Obviously, we're going to talk some sports here. That's kind of the origin story of the Brian Lemon Show. We're going to talk sports, but I'm more interested in the off-field aspects of sports as it pertains to us, I guess. So, as you probably know, and anyone who's watching or listening knows, Brittney Griner, who is a NBA player, WNBA player, was arrested in February by Russian authorities, and she pleaded guilty this past week to having hashish cartridges. And there's a big movement among, I'd say probably a good amount of Americans, as well as WNBA players, including Brittney Griner's wife, who has petitioned President Biden to work toward freeing Brittney Griner. And I'm going to bring LeBron James into this at one point, but I just want to kind of get, what's your opinion of what's going on? What's your stance on the whole situation as it stands right now?
Well, I mean, first of all, you have to, when you're in a different country, you have to be a little bit smarter, especially as being an American where everyone just really hates us. Doesn't matter who, So I mean, you got to be smart. You're in a foreign country. You can't be carrying around certain things that are illegal, and you're gonna get caught. And then you want everyone to help you out. And of course, she's famous, so blah blah blah. But I it's just stupid. I feel it's not. You're not thinking. You just, you want to do it. If it's legal there, do it. But don't be moving it around and taking it, trying to go over the borders and doing this stuff.
I agree. It was irresponsible of her to do that, especially being, if you want to consider her a high profile person or personality, especially going to play professional basketball in Russia.
Yeah.
So I'm not a huge LeBron James fan. And I've been thinking about this, about his kind of role or lack thereof in this whole thing, because I hadn't heard anything from him or seen anything from him. But Joe Kimby on Outkick, I think it was today, wrote a piece about, I guess there's an episode of The Shop, which is some sort of show, where LeBron kind of gives his opinion. And he says, now, how can she feel like America has her back? I would be feeling like, do I even want to go back to America?
Yeah.
Which is an interesting take. One, that's just an interesting take. The other thing I've been thinking about is, LeBron James is one of the richest professional athletes in the world in the history of sports.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a billionaire. And he plays for a league, the NBA, that is in bed with the Chinese. You know, there's been well-publicized issues with the Chinese government, the NBA, Enos, Cantor, Freedom, who played for the Celtics. The Celtics were banned from Chinese TV because of comments and shoes that he had worn. And I was wondering, you know, if LeBron is as big as he thinks he is, or people make him out to be, what's his role in maybe helping to free Brittney Griner? Does he have the power, you think, to talk to someone in China to say, all right, you're going to lean on the Russians, and you're going to get her the hell out of the Russian prison? What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I mean, yes, he is a very popular guy, but I don't think he has enough power to do anything like that.
But they say money is power, right, Gary?
Yeah. But I don't see him giving up his money to do it.
Okay, that's one thing, yeah. Right? So whatever you want to say about, I mean, you think about what Muhammad Ali gave up personally.
Oh yeah.
You know, now again, it was about him, but there were other people protesting the Vietnam War, and you know what was going on at the time. But he personally sacrificed years off of his career and earnings. But I don't think we'll ever see LeBron do something like that.
Well, that's a whole different generation. They were more, whatever. I mean, they weren't all in it for the money. They were in it for, I mean, they might have been in it a little bit for the fame and things like that. But money-wise, I mean, he probably wasn't making as much as like any of the other ones like nowadays, where some of these guys, I mean, making $20 billion for a fight, he wasn't making that money.
So well, he was making good money for the time, but
yes, for him at the time, yes, but for him, it was more of the, you know, I don't want to say notoriety, but more of the, you know, wanted to speak out against things. Where a lot of these guys now are more, if it's not going to do anything for me, what am I gonna? I'm not making any money out of it, so why should I bother even? I mean, yeah, I might get my name out there, but my name's already out there. What do I need my name out there for now?
Now, do you think there's anyone in the NBA, like even a Steph Curry or a Steve Kerr, who would maybe go to the NBA and say, "Hey, we're gonna protest and not play preseason games in China. We want to rescind, you know, our contract with China and their television in an effort to put some pressure on Russia to free her." Do you think that's possible, feasible?
I mean,
do you think anyone has the guts to broach that subject?
Yeah. See, the problem now, everything with the whole thing with Russia and Ukraine and all that, I don't. At this point, it's like it's kind of a sore subject. I don't think anyone wants to try to get into any of it. So I think at this point, she might be stuck on her own, unless the president wants to step in.
So you don't think anyone in the NBA cares enough about Brittney Griner to lay money or some sort of sacrifice on the line?
No, nope, I don't see it.
All right. I agree. I haven't seen anything yet.
No.
All right. Well, kind of along those lines, but not as severe or strict, I guess. This past week, Novak Djokovic won Wimbledon.
Okay.
Novak was not able or allowed to participate in the Australian Open earlier this year because.
Whoop, I lost you a little bit there. Froze up. Still frozen. Still frozen. Must be a bad connection somewhere. I'm getting you. Hold on. Keep going. Oh, wait.
Did you hear anything I said? Because you were frozen.
Oh, you were frozen on my end. I was sitting here.
So what did you hear me say?
You couldn't play in the Australian Open because of COVID.
Right. And he's not going to be able to play as of right now next month in the U.S. Open because he's not received the 2 COVID shots.
Okay. So he just played. So he didn't play Australia, but he played Wimbledon.
They like kicked him out of the country because he didn't have the COVID shots.
Because it's U.S. Okay, I got you.
But he was able to play in and won in Wimbledon. I think he played in the French Open, but didn't win it.
Okay.
Maybe he did win it. I'm not sure. But he can't come into the U.S. to play
until he gets his shots. But if he wants to get a shot, he may not. If he didn't get them now, I don't see why he wants to get them.
Right. So at what point? I guess at what point are we going to be like? You know.
I didn't even realize that they still were making people do it to come in. I just assumed everything was open. They should have it here in Florida because our governor don't care about anything, so they should just have the U.S. Open down here.
I was surprised too to find out that he wasn't going to be able to come in and play. Do you think, in August when it's time for him? I mean, do you think we're at the point where we can kind of relax?
I mean, where's the U.S. Open anyway? Where do they play it? Is it New York?
Flushing, New York.
Okay, that's why. So New York is a little, from what I gather, New York's a little bit stricter on a lot of their rules and everything. So, I mean, I guess it all depends on states as of right now. That's how I'm gathering it. But because, like I said, down here, everything's open. It don't matter. You can get the shot. You can't get the shot. You don't need the shot. Whatever. There's nothing closed down here. It's a free for all. So that's why
you're not having mass casualties, are you?
Not that I know of. I literally have not heard much of anything in quite some time. That's why when you said that now, him not being able to come in, it throws me off because I'm like, I just assumed everything was kind of back to normal again throughout every state. So
it shocked me too because I was like, we're still talking about this. It's like we're in the second half of 2022. Mm-hmm. It's over 2 years since the height of this.
Oh yeah. I mean, I still hear people getting it every once in a while, but it's just not as bad. I mean, I have my 2 shots. I just never got boosters. I never got the booster yet. But I never, like I said, I'm like, I don't hear anything anymore. Like you don't hear about casualties anymore. You don't hear about like hospitals being overrun. So I'm like, I don't know. I mean, now you hear about other random little diseases that are popping up here and there. But other than that, I mean, I assumed everything was kind of flowing again.
So Gary, if I make you the commissioner of the U.S. Open, are you letting him come in to play?
As long as he doesn't have COVID, take the test. If you take the test and you're negative, then sure, why the heck not?
All right, I can live with that. I like that.
That's fine.
I like that ruling. Commissioner Gary.
Not gonna make you nut because you didn't get shots. I'm like, come on now. How many of these whack jobs are on here that don't get their shots? I mean, when I'm going to places, I'm not worried about if someone got their boosters or their immunizations. I'm like, I'm just going out. I know I've got my stuff, so I know I'm okay. I might get sick, but I'm not going to be like super sick. So but I mean, fine. Yeah. Test. You take the test, you're good to go.
All right. Let's move on to something less political and heated and serious, I guess.
Got it.
So this weekend, Gary, on Sunday, I am heading off to my second Boy Scout camp.
Okay. Woo-hoo.
Now, were you ever a Boy Scout? I don't know if I've ever asked this.
So back in the way yonder, I did join. I might have been the Cub Scouts. I don't know. I think they're all the same anyway. But
It's Cub Scout camp. They're Cub Scouts.
I'll get yelled at from my friend who is part of the Boy Scouts, but I know they're all separate in certain things. But I did join for a little bit, and didn't last long because I was like, it was kind of boring. So I never really got into it. Never got called into it. I know. Like I said, I have a friend here that does the other. We do the other Distracted Dads podcast. His son has been in it since he was, I don't even know how. I mean, he's Colin's age now, so he's 14. So he's probably been in it for 10 years or whatever, or even longer. And he still religiously does all that stuff. He was just up doing the Appalachian Trail with his group, and his father helps out every once in a while too. Like Paul, he's kind of helping out. He was a kind of what you did, or kind of what you do. He did that for a little bit, and he's kind of getting back into it. But I just was never.
Yeah, so I was never a Cub Scout growing up. Or my brother did Boy Scouts for a few years, and I liked it when he did that because he'd be out of the house for like a weekend or a few days because he always picked them. So, and then Joseph never did any scouting because we did baseball, basketball.
Yeah,
it was all sports with him.
Yep.
So we never did any scouts. The little guy Bernie wants to join Scouts. So, as a 40-something-year-old, father, last year was my first time like camping out in a tent.
Okay.
So I won't lie, I had a lot of anxiety about camping because I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Because I like to know like what I'm walking into.
Have you ever you never camped before then? Ever, even when you were young?
I never camped.
Okay.
We've glamped at state parks. We have like those cabins.
Okay.
We'll cook on a fire, but we're sleeping like indoors.
Okay.
Not
being boys, but I've camped when I was younger. We used to go in the tent. You'd wake up, there'd be snow on the ground, or there'd be rain. So it was just like, But now I don't do it here anymore. Like I know a lot of people that want to keep, like they want to go camp, but I'm like, it's Florida. I'm like, I'm not camping here. I'm like, how hot it is. I'm like, I will glamp, no problem. Like you said, I will do that.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah, I like the glamping. So we're going Sunday. We're staying there. So I'll be sleeping in a tent Sunday night and Monday night. So actually, I will be back Tuesday. So we could do next Tuesday. We won't. Okay. Yeah, I thought we were coming back Wednesday. Okay. We're coming back on Tuesday later. But I feel a lot more at ease this year because I know we're staying in the same like area of the camp.
Okay.
So I know exactly like what I'm walking into, what the day will be like. So I feel much better. Yeah. However, I was having more anxiety because of the medical forms. So, of course, in order to go anywhere now, you have to have these medical forms, which I had to get them last year, and it was a fiasco because we were going to be on vacation the week before we left we came back Saturday night and then left Sunday for the 3 days of camping.
Okay.
And of course I wait till the last minute. So like the week, like the 2 days before I'm leaving for vacation, I'm trying to get these forms filled out by my doctor and he hasn't seen me in a year and blah, blah, blah. So this year we were supposed to go to camp, like an overnight camp in June. And I had dropped off the forms at Bernie's doctors and my doctors. The doctor's staff gave me sort of I wasn't happy with their customer service when I dropped off the the form
Okay.
because my doctor was on vacation, and she's like, "Well, doctor's on vacation. I don't know if he'll be able to. We won't be able to fill these out." Meanwhile, there's two other doctors in the office, which can probably review my file and say like,
Yeah.
Check,
Sign off. Yep.
sign it. He's good to go. So I called today because, of course, it's Tuesday now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I dropped, forms off a few weeks ago for Boy Scout camp. I'm just calling to see if, doctor was able to sign them. And she's like, oh, yeah, they're here. They tried to call me, I guess, back in the last month, but my mailbox was full, which has been remedied. But so I think I'm ready to go. I'm going to be able to get my medical forms and
there you go.
be able to and go enjoy myself. So
good.
But dealing just with the paperwork.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Everything's a process.
Oh man. Yeah. That's so weird.
So, just a quick, I guess, programming note. I heard from Chuck Shilkin, who hosts the How Charts.
Okay.
On Spotify. Chuck was a former colleague at the Fauquier Times-Democrat.
Watch your language.
He used to send me all over Fauquier County as a young Cubs sports reporter. He lives out. He actually writes for not the Washington Times. He writes for the Los Angeles Times.
Okay.
But he hosts a podcast called the How Charts. So from the time he was in 6th grade till he was in college, he charted the top 20 songs according to him every week.
Okay.
He's now going back and reviewing those How Charts and having a guest, and they talk about the songs and just make fun of, the 80s and early 90s. Oh, so yeah. I am going to be a guest on one of the upcoming episodes. We're going to be recording, I believe, Saturday.
Okay.
So that then should premiere or be posted sometime probably the following weekend, because I think it's for the weekend of the 21st through the 25th of July.
Okay.
So I think he gave me the year. I think it's 1987.
Oh, okay.
So I was 11, but I did listen to the radio, watched MTV.
Interesting.
So now don't tell me any of the songs. I want to kind of be surprised. I want it to be like an organic experience when we do it.
Oh, okay. All right. I won't. Whew. Some good ones.
I'm sure.
There's some good ones. Oh man. That's a good year. That's a good year. It's a good year.
Yeah, so
right there. I can
I'll be posting links and so everyone can listen to my turn on the How Charts with Chuck Shilkin. And you can check it out. We listen to it when we're on like a longer road trip.
Okay.
Jill and I will put it on because it'll be like this week in 1985 or this week in 1991. And it's like, fun just to kind of reminisce and remember what certain songs remind you of, things like that.
Oh, yeah. I love doing that stuff because you forget. And then when you hear and they say, oh, yeah, this song was from 1987, you're like, serious? I'm like, really? I'm like, oh, my God. I'm like, I love this song. I'm like, I didn't realize it was that old. And it's like, so, yeah, that'll be a good time.
Yeah. All right. One more update for me, Gary.
Yes.
We've our house, particularly our plumbing, has been falling into disarray.
Okay.
So last summer, maybe even the summer before, our like faucet outside of the house that you like hook like a sprinkler or a hose to, the handle like cracked because it was like just sitting in the sun for 40 years.
Yeah.
So we can't turn it on.
Okay.
Because it doesn't like turn. It's like stripped. The kitchen sink is a disaster with the plumbing like underneath. It's been leaking. It gets clogged. Our faucet is broken for probably 3 or 4 years. like water doesn't flow out of it properly.
Yeah.
We've been living like this. I take full responsibility. The bathroom sink on the first floor like never turns off completely.
Oh, yeah.
And both toilets on the main floor and upstairs don't flush properly. Again, over a year this has been going on.
I have one of those right now.
So maybe a few months ago we tried calling a plumber, and they're like, "Oh, I'm too busy. You know, I'll give me a call next week or maybe next month."
Mm-hmm.
And then this past like 3 weeks, actually, one of our old classmates, Eddie Mullaney,
Okay,
he does like remodeling and bathroom work. Like, he sent me the name of a plumber.
Okay.
So like, it's been 3 weeks to try and get this guy to like
just come out,
commit, because he's so busy.
Yeah.
And every time I call him, he's like, "Remind me again what you need." So I list everything that I just went through. And he's like, "Oh, yeah. So tomorrow at 2:00, he's supposed to be here.
Sweet. All right.
Now I think he's got more than a day's work, because I want him to like replace the kitchen sink, like the sink itself.
Yeah. Take the whole
and the plumbing underneath.
and just completely. Yep.
Yeah. And then like the outside, that faucet, I don't know what's going to go on there, and I might be buying 2 more, new toilets.
Yeah.
We don't know.
So yeah, I'm a little luckier because our baseball coach is a plumber.
Oh.
So when I do need something, like, which I never really got into before when we were talking about it, my tub handle was leaking all the time, and I decided I was gonna I could do this. Not realizing that you need to turn the water off first. And the thing blew off, and the water just kept shooting everywhere. And I'm trying to screw the thing back on. I'm screaming at Shannon, trying to get her to help, telling her to call him. I'm like, figure out. Finally, I get the thing kind of back on, but it's still pouring out. Tells me where the thing is. I'm outside in the dark, out in my front yard, trying to find this little thing underground, a little knob, and I'm in there twisting. Finally, shut everything out. Oh, it was a disaster. So I try not to do any plumbing anymore because I destroyed it.
Yeah, that's where I am. I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm not good at.
Exactly.
And I have no understanding of plumbing.
Nope.
I have no desire to learn plumbing, especially at my age.
Now, I've changed out toilets. I could do that, but that's about as far as I can go. That's it. So, yeah. So, and again, I am maybe the world's least handiest guy. Me too.
I can change a car battery. I can change a car tire.
Exactly.
I can put gas in the car.
You betcha.
And I can put oil in the car if it needs it to like get me to the next stop.
Yep.
I know you know that.
Yeah.
Windshield wiper fluid.
Windshield wiper fluid. Yep.
But around the house,
I can do small little things. I can hang stuff. That's about as much as I can do.
I could hang something. I like painting.
I hate painting, but I'll do it if I have to.
See, I'll paint. I like painting.
Now I do. But I have someone coming out tomorrow too, as well, to give us an estimate for a pool.
Ooh.
Yes, we're looking
Chateau McDaniel.
That's right. We're moving on up in the world here.
Now, how long have you lived in that house?
15 since 2006.
Okay.
So about or no, that's what.
So you've lived there a long time.
Yeah. So 16 years.
Now, if you go ahead and get the pool installed, and is it going to be an in-ground pool?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So say you do get the in-ground pool put in.
Yes.
is there going to be a certain part of you that like wants to punch yourself in the face for not doing it like 15 years ago?
Yeah. Well, the thing was, we had the in-laws up the road, so
Right.
it
had the pool nearby.
They had the pool, so we were able to
So
go.
it would have been redundant for. Okay.
But technically, I mean, they've been gone for what, 5-6 years now. So technically, yeah, 5-6 years. I probably should have looked into doing this, and
Yeah.
But I was never a pool guy. I never wanted one. I didn't care. I barely go in. I was like, even when we go over there or to Jupiter, I was like, oh, it's just, I don't know. It feels like work going into a pool, but they want one to hang out in. I'm like, all right. So
I want to tell you something, Gary. The neighbor that lives in back of me here across the alley, you know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
So I don't think it was last summer. I think it was 2 summers ago. I'm gonna wait for the noise in the studio here to die down.
That someone fell over.
Yeah. So they had a pool installed.
Okay.
It's like a half C INSI. It's like kind of underground, but it's kind of out of ground.
Okay.
Kind of talking about 2 or 3 feet like out of the ground.
Yep.
It was a major project that took weeks. There were bulldozers. There was dirt. There was rocks. I have not seen them in that pool in 2 years.
That sounds about right.
Now the pool is open. I can see it's open.
Okay.
But I never see anyone in it. I never see anyone outside. I never see anyone floating in it. I never hear anyone splashing. And that would be my fear, especially in Pennsylvania, where if you get the pool open by Memorial Day, you're lucky.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're looking at June, July, August. And if you have it open to Labor Day,
yeah, you're lucky.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So for 3 months out of 12, you're going to break your back trying to pour chemicals in it and become a scientist.
Yeah, do all that stuff.
And for me, it's one of those things not worth it.
Not worth it, yeah. So you hear a different story because it's all year. You keep it open all. I mean, you don't have to worry about closing it, none of that stuff. So
right. Now I will say, because I think it's because of the fact that none of the pools are open. And we talked about that on our first episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I am carrying a little extra weight this year. Okay. So I am like eternally hot.
Yeah.
It would
be nice.
I would love to jump into a pool. In fact, I've thought about asking my neighbor
just to go over there.
You mind if I just like take a dip in there to just get wet, because it's been.
You gotta buy one of those inflatable ones. They're not like the little bit bigger ones, but they're not a kiddie pool, but a little bit bigger. We have one actually here.
Well,
blew it up.
Well, here's the other thing, Gary.
I'll mail it to you.
My faucet, my hose connection doesn't work.
You can't even.
It comes back to the plumbing. I'm a man on an island. I can't win.
Yeah, you'd have to get buckets.
Because I probably would have this year bought one of those inflatable I don't know 3 feet by 9 foot pools or something. I probably would have done it this year. But I know I'm not going to be like Mom and Pa Kettle taking 5-gallon buckets of water out to fill the damn thing. All right. Before we get to the news of the weird, I have one more story, Gary, I want to talk to you about.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't know if you saw this item. There's someone calling my house at 10:48. The house phone is ringing. I have no idea what that's not what I want to talk about. Have you seen the stories this week about Zach Wilson, the New York Jets quarterback?
I have.
Okay.
I have.
So word on the street is that Zach Wilson, who had a girlfriend who was, I guess, Instagram famous.
Yep.
Probably about a 24, 25-year-old young woman.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of blew him up this week I guess they split in January. And she said kind of the reason she split was because Zach was sleeping with one of his mom's friends.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man likes a good MILF. What can I say? Yeah, there's been a lot of memes and things on.
Some of the memes have been funny this week.
They've been really good. They have.
Yeah. Now Zach Wilson's mother was a hit of the draft 2 years ago.
I remember that. Yep.
And that seems to be a trend now. Every draft, whether it's basketball or football, typically, is one of the players' mothers who's drafted becomes sort of a instant sensation.
Oh, yep.
So his mother was the hit of the draft 2 years ago when he was he the number one pick? I think he was. I
believe so.
So
one or two. No, was he? No, was it that with Lawrence? Wasn't he with Lawrence?
Yeah, I think he was actually.
So I think he was a later pick.
Maybe he was. You're right. Yeah, the Jags had the number one pick. Now, Gary, question for you. Now, when you were a kid, did you have like a crush on anyone's mother?
Ooh, good question.
Good question.
I think. First of all, he was the second overall pick.
Okay, he was number 2.
He was number 2. Man, I'm trying to think back to all of the people I went to school with and their mothers. No, I don't think there was one that would have been. No. Nope. Mm-mm.
Okay.
No. They were all a bit older than like my mother was, so I could think about all of them. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, your mom was a young mom.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Probably out of all everybody I went to grade school with, I think she was probably the youngest out of all of them. So
yeah. So like it's interesting because like when Joey and Lucy were younger, we were younger.
Yeah.
Like when they went to school, even that we weren't that young. We weren't that young because we were like 26 and 27 when they were born.
Yeah.
Like by the time they're in school, Jill's a little younger than me, so she was younger. But now like with Bernie, we're older.
Yeah.
So then you have, I'm in my 40s, and there's probably, some parents who are like 25, 26.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, I thought that was a very interesting story.
It was, yeah. Yeah, I like the one where someone posted, it looked like it was supposed to be a text message from him, and the girl was like, "Hey, I'm an IG model too, blah, 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 and I'm going to be at your game, and I'm going to have your jersey on. Can I meet you?" And he's like, "Hey, is that your mother in the picture?" She's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Was she coming too?"
All right, are we ready for your spot?
Let's do it.
I'm gonna make sure you have your volume up.
Let me put my my goggles on. Let's see what I'm doing. All right, let's see. We do that. We do this first, and we go. There we go.
And now it's time for Gary's News of the Weird. Here's Gary McDaniel.
All right.
What do you got for us this week, Gary?
Yeah, we got some good stuff today. All something that you we talked about what was it, a couple weeks ago, I think, some WWE.
Okay.
So WWE is banning all signs at Raw in San Antonio, Texas. WWE audiences are almost an inseparable part of their show. Their responses really add to the intensity of the show and make the experience more real for the stars in the ring. Another huge part of the audience members has been their signs and who they choose to cheer for. It seems the latest edition of Monday Night Raw won't feature any signs. Only time will tell if this becomes an ongoing trend. Jerry Massey, one of the audience members outside the venue, took on Twitter to reveal that WWE is apparently not letting signs in for the latest show. This was quite a shock, but he also provided photo evidence. Fans say that the times have changed with WWE confiscating signs. He said that the signs were a major part of the atmosphere and the arena used to be full of them back in the day. The user also posted a video of all the signs that have been taken from the audience so far. Hearing WWE or hearing hashtag WWE is not letting signs in for hashtag WWE Raw tonight. Times have changed. I remember going to shows back in the day and the arena were full of signs. They really added to the atmosphere. Tonight, every sign has been confiscated so far. Here's a sample. So, well, of course, stupid paid advertising pops up, so you can't.
Hotel California. Now, I did notice because I watched their Money in the Bank.
Okay.
Premium live event. They're not pay-per-views anymore.
Mm.
And Roman Reigns, who's the undisputed Universal Champion,
Yep.
So he has both heavyweight championships, was not on the card. And there was a sign, probably someone in the first or second row, and it said, Roman Reigns will not appear tonight. That's a spoiler. And that's one of the taglines of Paul Heyman, his general counsel.
Oh, okay.
So I think some of the signs have been getting a negative bent toward the WWE and certain characters, performers.
Got it.
And that's probably why. Also, I'm wondering too, because it's San Antonio and maybe the issue with the immigrants being, or people being found dead in the truck. Maybe they didn't want anything,
random things
untoward or
Yep. But yeah,
insensitive to appear.
You can see in this photo here that where people were making them throw their signs on the ground there. So, but so ban on signs.
Now I have brought signs to a WWE event before for Ruby's 10th birthday.
Okay.
And I think I was holding it up for her, and Charlotte Flair winked at me.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right. Yep, I would too.
Also, the other point is Vince McMahon is getting in more and more trouble every day, it seems, with the accusations of misconduct and payments for that. So that's probably another issue why they're not allowing signs.
Which flows into my next story, where Vince McMahon may be in bigger trouble as new allegations could be on the horizon. Vince McMahon has been the target of a wide-ranging investigation about the nature of hush money he paid to several former employees. The WWE boss doled out over $12 million to keep the inappropriate relationships quiet. Reporters who broke the news believe there could be much more to come. Joe Palazzolo and Ben Mann of the Wall Street Journal got the scoop on McMahon's payments. They recently appeared on Busted Open Radio to discuss their findings. Palazzolo doesn't think their work is done yet. During the appearances, Palazzolo was asked if more allegations were expected to come out. He said that he believes it's probably not done yet. While the reporting team currently has no new info in their back pocket, they think there is more to come.
And I will probably agree. I'm going to agree with this. We've seen it over and over again, whether it's, the president of the United States, not the current one, whether it's the owner of the New England Patriots, Robert Kraft. Unfortunately, it seems that men with money and power do these things. Kevin Spacey, whatever it is. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Oh, exactly.
So it's, and it's not surprising, it's an abuse of his power.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So
it's ridiculous, but that's it. That's news of the weird for the week of 7/12/22.
Before we head out, Gary, I just wanted to. Did you see that story I sent you about the getaway lawnmower guy?
So, when I was getting ready to do my stuff today, and I was looking up the stuff, I was like, "Oh, Brian sent me something." I was in my emails, couldn't find it. I was on my text messages, I was like, "Dang, I can't find where you sent me the link." And I was like, I know he sent me something. I searched I was in all of our different email chats or text message chats that we have. I couldn't find it. And I'm like, I swore he sent me something. I knew you sent me something, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah. So apparently this 40-year-old guy, his name is Dusty Mobley.
Oh, okay.
And he looks is that Butthead or Beavis? Beavis.
Beavis
He
was
looks
the
like,
blonde, right? Beavis was the blonde.
Yes. So he looks like Beavis.
Okay.
Like in real life. Like if Beavis was a 40-year-old man, he would look like Dusty Mobley. So apparently the cops in Okaloosa County, I guess it's near Destin, Florida. I don't know where that is.
It's up Panhandle.
Okay. So close to Alabama is what you're saying.
Yes.
All right. So apparently cops have been trying to catch this guy since January.
Okay.
And he jumped on his tractor. It's like a 0-turn mower.
Okay.
And took off on it. And they finally got him off the mower. I think they had to tase him. And he had a revolver, a handcuff key, and a meth pipe. So he has like 16 charges against him, including grand theft of a vehicle, felony criminal mischief.
Oh my Lord. Oh, you freeze up again? Or did I freeze up again? Because I'm playing on my computer. Oh, hold on. Lost you for a second.
And stealing a $40,000 boat. And when they found the boat and he was on it, he jumped overboard and swam in the swamp to avoid arrest.
Oh my God.
So, but they finally caught him on his tractor. Maybe it wasn't his tractor, but they caught him. So, but I thought that was you always hear about the news stories of Florida man.
Mm-hmm. They're everywhere. I know. I was trying to find what was his name again?
His name is wait.
Is it McNeil or
what the heck? Oh, hold on. Dusty Mobley.
Let's see. Dusty Mobley. So, nope, I'm just getting Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes. All right, well, whatever.
But yeah, so I'm sure Florida will give us some more news.
Oh, always.
Weird stories in the future. I'm confident in that.
Oh yeah. That's
all
what
right.
we're known
So
for.
it's 11 o'clock. So it's we're gonna kind of wrap it up. Just a reminder: if you're listening, you can listen on Substack, thebrianlennonshow.substack.com.
Yep.
You can listen on Spotify. Just look up The Brian Lennon Show, no spaces, and check out all the episodes to listen. Every Sunday we post the visual episode on YouTube, the YouTube channel for The Brian Lennon Show. And anything else you want to plug, Gary? Distracted Dads Pod. You guys doing anything?
Not yet, but very shortly.
Right.
Very shortly.
All right. Well, we thank you again for joining The Brian Lennon Show. For my co-host, Gary McDaniel, this is Brian Lennon, and we will talk to all of you next week. Have a great weekend.
Good night.